Hi, it's Nancy, and it's Sunday afternoon on a rainy Sunday afternoon, and it's been quite a crazy week. So, I wanted to talk to you today about how to become a real estate expert. People, when they first get in the business, they're surrounded by people who have been in the business a lot longer than them, and some other ones that are new along with them. And we want to reach that pinnacle of success right away. It seems like it's okay. I got my real estate license. Now I want to go make $100,000 a year or 200 or 500 right out of the gate. I see these guys doing it. How in the world are they doing it? Do they have some secret? Is it a secret? Or they have some private method that they're not sharing with other people, or maybe their broker gives them everything just because the broker likes them. But I can assure you, none of those things are the case. And there's really no secrets in real estate anymore. And if they ever were, they're all out on YouTube now. So there you go. So how does someone go from zero to the pinnacle of success in real estate sales? How does that happen? And if you meet anybody who's at the top of their game in real estate, and by the way, it is a long game, not a short game. Don't try to make it a short game because it won't work for you. It's a long game. If you meet somebody who is the pinnacle of what you'd like to be in real estate, I guarantee you they've been doing it for a number of years. I also guarantee you that they're very disciplined and they have a very strong sense of commitment to getting good over time. And one thing that it does take is time. Now, we have people that come in the business and they make, sales their first 30 days or 90 days or 60 days. Yes, they do, but that does not make them a real estate expert. It makes them a beginner who hooked onto somebody who needed to buy or sell and convinced them to do it with them a few times over. Okay, that does not make an expert. Your first year in real estate, you can't possibly be an expert. There's so much to learn. So if you're coming into real estate for a short game, it's not a short game. And if you're coming into it just to make a few easy commissions, I would say that you're doing yourself and you're doing the people that you're going to be doing business with a disservice. Because think about it this way. If you were going to, real estate is a profession. It's a profession, real estate sales. And we need to look at it as a profession. If you were going to go to a doctor, would you want to go to a doctor who just sees somebody now and again for a hobby? If you needed a lawyer to represent you in a legal case, in a very important legal case, would you want to hire a hobby lawyer? Those are the two best examples. Let me give you one more example. If you wanted to take your dear pet to a veterinarian, would you want to take it to a hobby veterinarian or somebody who knows how to do it right every single time? That's what we're looking at here. So why is real estate a different avenue than these other professions? Well, number one, you don't have to have a college degree to get in. Number two, you can take a 63-hour class, take their exam, take the state exam, get fingerprinted, and boom, you're in business. So it's a profession, but it's so different from these other professions that take 4 to 8 to 12 years to be allowed to practice. So you can practice the day you get your license, which is almost a little bit scary sometimes. But how do you become an expert? Well, you take the time and take the courses and take the on-the-job training that it takes over years and years, while all the while you're studying on how to get better. Number two is study. Number one is it takes time. Number two is study. And a lot of study. There's studying your market. They're studying techniques. They're studying what to say to people to get them to do business with you, what questions to ask, how to serve them better. Nowadays, it's supposed to be about the customer experience, not your experience. You have to give the customer a good experience. That's what they're looking for. And I will say this, there have been a lot of bad experiences in real estate for people over the years because of the easy in, easy out type of business it is. So we're just here to try to make it better. There's realtors that are very dedicated to this profession, and I applaud you if you are one of them, or dedicated to becoming better at this business, because it is a lifelong, enjoyable career and service industry. So it also takes a lot of practice. It takes practice. So number 3 is practice. So study, give yourself the time, study and practice. What do you practice? Well, you practice by learning your market, going and seeing homes that are in the market that you want to be in. You practice by practicing scripts and dialogues of the right things to say to help people at the highest level. You're not trying to trick them with your scripts and dialogues. People get hung up on the script and dialogue thing. Well, if you don't know what to ask to be able to pull enough information from them to be able to help them at a higher level, then you're going to stumble. So, and they're not going to hire you if you're not interested in what their well-being is about this whole transaction. You don't have to have their life story, but you have to know enough about their needs and wants to be able to give them good service. And you learn that through asking the right questions and listening to the answers to be able to help them. That is actually scripts and dialogues. It used to be that we learned something smart to say, and then we could overcome that objection and get them to do business with us. It's different now. It's different from the way we learned it. We used to learn to go on a listing presentation, and we came to their house and we presented and presented and presented without ever asking the right questions. That wasn't good either. That's also very outdated. But I remember my first real estate job. I don't even want to tell you what year it was because it was way long ago. And I worked with a franchise, and they gave us this light blue book, and you took the book and you stood it up and you flipped through the pages and you talked about it, but you didn't ask any questions. That didn't work too well. So we got better at it, and we still get better at it over the years. So practicing with real people, if you want to call on for sale by owners, then practice that. Practice before you do it. Practice by doing it. That's part of the learning process. That's part of what makes you better. Screwing up is part of what makes you better at real estate. So knowing what to say and when. And there's 4 levels of learning scripts and dialogues that people usually go through. The first one is they're incompetent at it. Okay, so how do you get better? You practice. You practice on yourself, and then you practice with other people, and then you practice by doing it. So, and sometimes we practice in groups, or you find a partner to practice with. So you become from the incompetent to the unconscious competent, where the words just flow. If you practice it long enough, you go from the unconscious incompetent to the conscious incompetent to the conscious competent, which you're still thinking very hard, you're using a lot of brain power, to the unconscious competent. And when you reach the level of the unconscious competent, it's part of you. Those dialogues, those questions, those expert questions that a lawyer would ask you, the expert questions that a doctor would ask you, the expert questions that a top real estate agent who's an expert would ask you. That's what you want to get to. And when you get to that level, and we see people in our own company that are at that level right now, it's easy to be jealous of them. When I started out in real estate, I looked at somebody who was the top agent in the company. I was so jealous of him. I thought, how's he doing that? I'm working so much harder than he is, and he's getting all the business. I didn't like it. Didn't like it one bit, but I kept at it. I didn't give up because this was the way I was going to support my family, and I knew it. So you level of commitment, it was very strong and very necessary at the time that I learned how to do that. And then you reach that level, and when you reach that level, people will say, I wanted to be like you in real estate. And then you know that you've reached that level of unconscious competence. So it's become second nature to you, just like learning your ABCs, only better. I mean, it's really better. But there's a lot of hard work involved. So the 4th thing I want to say is it's a lot of hard work after the practice. It is. And so all of these things compile, and years of experience will make you an expert. I have seen people come into the business and think they're going to outsmart the system. I've seen it. I've seen them fail. Those are the people that fail the fastest. One person was going to do everything by mailings, and that was it. But it didn't work for him, and he got out of the business. I saw somebody else, a young man, who was very determined that he had the best URL in the business, and that URL was going to take him far. Well, he crashed and burned. Okay, so if you think you can outsmart the system, I don't think you can. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. I have seen some exceptions where people did it by buying business instead of going out and calling off for sale by owners and prospecting. I have seen that, but very rarely. I'd say I've seen it once. I've seen it once in my 30-something years of real estate. So it does take being incompetent in the beginning and being willing to learn and do. You can't learn without doing, because the doing is part of the learning. So you've got to screw up. Like, I used to go on a listing appointment and I would go, oh gosh, I wish I would have said, as soon as you get in the driveway, as soon as you slam the door to your car and you're in and you didn't get the listing and you don't think you are going to get it, you say, oh, I wish I would have said that. I remembered that I learned that, but I forgot to ask that question, or I forgot to say that. So that was practice. That was on the job practice. So you have to fail a number of times. You're not a failure if you just keep trying and fail a number of times. Eventually, you're going to go back and you're going to listen to it used to be tapes for me. I've been in so long, I used to listen to audio tapes. Now you can just listen to your phone, or you can listen to YouTube, or you can listen to a device. But I would say that I listened and listened and listened. It also helped me get a strong mindset. I listened to a lot of conversations about how to have a strong mindset, because I will tell you, I wavered from time to time. I did feel like getting out of the business. I worked very hard and I burned out a lot, like twice a year, So I felt like this, maybe this isn't for me. But as I looked around, I'd say, well, okay, Nancy, what else are you going to do this kind of career, live wherever you want to, and potentially make the income that's as strong as you can make. And there was nothing. For me, there was nothing. There might be something for you, but for me, there was no close second. So I guess I decided at some point to get really, really good in real estate. And but it's not a quick fix. You got to know, be in it for the long haul. Don't just come in and try it. And it's not like HGTV, and it's not like anything like that. It's not, I love houses, so I'm going to be good in real estate. Has nothing to do with your love for houses. When people tell me that, I know they have unrealistic expectations. So don't come in because you have a love for houses. If you don't have a love for houses, become a real estate investor, not a real estate sales agent. A real estate sales agent takes special talent that you acquire over time. And I think anybody can learn it. I don't know. I have seen a couple of people that I didn't think had the capacity. But most of all, you've got to have the willingness and the commitment. Those two things. You can become a real estate expert. I wouldn't expect to be a real estate expert before 10 years in the business on average. Maybe somebody can fast track it and do a little faster, but it's worth it. It's worth it. In 10 years, I don't think you'll want to do anything else, because especially in Florida, which is where we are, we're a state that people are driving to and flying to and wanting to live here. So I would say if you're in an area where there's not much going on, then maybe not. But if you're in an area which is a destination, then real estate is a fantastic career. We have ups and downs. I've been a real estate market in the best of markets. I've been a real estate agent in the worst of markets. And in both cases, I did pretty well. And that's the interesting part about it. So if you're really good at it, you can do pretty well if the market's moving up or if the market's moving down. Because when the market's moving down, you really have to be an expert in real estate. You have to be able to have the harder conversations. And when the market's going down, you'll see the people that are hobby realtors fleeing out of real estate because they can't make a living at it. So that's my talk for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to be a real estate agent, or if you want to get started with a great business plan, I've got some other videos here that you would be interested in seeing, and I'll have a lot more on the way. Thanks for listening.